Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And as you can see by the title, the Pumas have absolutely decimated the Lions, 39 points to 10. And to be honest, I watched the game. I wasn't at home, so I wasn't, able to do a video right away. But just arrived home, and I thought about, maybe let me just give it to the morning and then do a reaction, do a review. But I'm so fed up with what I saw tonight that I thought, I'm going to go on here. I'm going to be brutally honest. The Pumas were worth every single one of those 39 points. A phenomenal performance by them. Jimmy Stonehouse, take all the credit in the world. Vinny Engelbrecht, get him in the box squad as far as I'm concerned after what I saw tonight. But when I break this game down, I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm going to absolutely tear apart the Lions because it is not good enough. And I'm not going to sit there. I'm not going to necessarily go player by player and talk about the players not being good enough. But as a union, as an organization, the Lions are becoming a laughingstock in this country. And the fact that there is no relegation promotion, for this Untitled Rugby Championship is probably the biggest thing that is saving the Lions at the moment. Because the way that they are currently playing, the sort of trajectory they are on, we are not going to compete at all in this Untitled Rugby Championship. If we play like we did tonight, we're not going to compete in the Curry Cup. And it's actually not good enough. But before we break down the game, and I really get stuck into what I really want to say, please do smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. To the Pumas fans, congratulations, really good victory tonight. I mean, on Ultimate Rugby, I think the voting was 90% 10 to a Lions victory and 59 points to 10. It's not like it was a close game. It's not. I mean, the Lions were completely outclassed. I mean, that second half performance from the Pumas was brilliant. I mean, you take nothing away from them. They were fantastic tonight, but the Lions were awful. Awful. So we just quickly ran through some of the events and the main events of the game. So the first try came in the 22nd minute. And look, the Lions started pretty well. They had a lot of possession in the first half. They had a lot of field position. Execution. It was just so poor. How many knock-ons were there, How many kicks and touch throughout the game? A couple of chips over there at the top that were well fielded, giving possession away. It's just almost like we didn't have a blooming game plan. And eventually all came together, and Sibutiso Sangweni went over the try line in the 22nd minute. Look, he looks a very good player. I think he had good moments and bad moments. 20 years old, he's a very big fellow, and has a promising future. And you can say that about a lot of players. But my biggest gripe is going to be the fact that, these are players that are not ready to be at this level. Not completely anyway. They're ready to be introduced, but there's not enough star quality, not enough experience in this side. So, the Lions scored in the 22nd minute, and Fred Zalinger converted. I have quite a lot to say about Fred Zalinger, to be honest. I think we're really missing Jordan Hendricks there. And then after that, the Pumas hit back. I mean, the amount of penalties the Lions conceded, we'll go and look at it in a minute, but I think the Pumas conceded about 2 penalties in the entire second half. But Eddie Fisher kicked a penalty in the 27th minute and in the 31st minute to make it 6-7 before the Lions then returned the favour in the 33rd minute. And Etienne Talliard, I said in the preview, I said he's a very good finisher. Don't give him space. He converted a very, very well-worked try. Very nicely chased and well taken there. Eddie Fisher added the extras. And then on the 39th minute, the Pumas went over through Simon Vestraat, and Eddie Fisher converted. So the Pumas had an 18-10 advantage at half-time. But to be honest, as a Lions fan, I was thinking we should be in this game. We weren't taking our chances. We weren't executing well, but we had all the possession. The first half possession was 61% possession for the Lions. Territory was 63%. We were camped out in the Pumas half. We had all the possession. We had all the opportunity. We couldn't break down that Pumas defense. And it wasn't necessarily a defensive masterclass. It was a lot of basic errors, to be honest, from the Lions. But there was the worst possible start in the second half. And Billy Engelbrecht came. I mean, he was immense, wasn't he? I think as the Lions, you're going to be sitting there watching what he did tonight, thinking we could actually use a player like that. He went over in the 48th minute. The Lions, they made a host of changes and brought in four different players. And taking off Vince Tuka, which I thought was a strange decision. Putting on Ross Kinnear, putting on Aiden Kabito. I mean, brilliant performance by him, by the way. We'll get to him in a moment. But then Dale Moritz went over in the 60th minute. Eddie Fisher added the extras. And then Ginter Smuts went over in the 68th minute. And that was job done. And then the Lions were camped out in the last few minutes, but couldn't get any points on the board. But if we're looking at the stats, before I sort of talk more about the game, I mean, stats-wise, overall, the Lions still had 59% possession and 58% territory. They had the ball. They just couldn't do anything with it. I mean, 5 tries to 1. You scored 1 try with 59% possession. This is the Lions side, come now. I mean, it's just, as I said, it just looked so toothless on attack. Meters made, 373 meters run compared to 252. 24 defenders beaten. 3 clean breaks apiece. A lot more passes than the Lions. Sort of same amount of offloads. 10 turnovers won by the Pumas. They were very, very good at the breakdown. I must admit, they were causing a lot of havoc. It wasn't clean ball from the lines. They couldn't get quick ball as well. They were very good at the breakdown, slowing things down. 33 kicks from hand from the Pumas, for 26 from the Lions. In terms of the tackles, the Lions defense, 79%. That's not good enough. That is not good enough. You want to go to the United Rugby Championship, you've got to get that defense to be up above 85. To have only made 62 of 82 tackles, 65 of 82 tackles is not good enough. The Pumas, on the other hand, made 151 of 175 tackles. That's how you win games. You make 151 tackles across the match, you're not going to concede too many points. Whereas you get asked to make just 82, pretty much half of what they were asked to do, and yet you can only make 65. That's where you lose games. Line-out success, 100% for the Lions. The Lions are actually all right. There was 12 out of 12 there, 16 out of 17 for the Pumas. Scrums weren't great for the Lions. They lost a scrum, and 100% for the Pumas. Penalties conceded were 8 apiece, but this is the problem here. The Lions conceded 5 penalties in the Pumas half, and that's always going to be an issue. But I just think that you look at that game, and the Pumas were up for it. Hey, they really were up for it. That first half, they deserved their lead, but that second half performance, they just blew the Lions away. It was incredible. Willie Engelbrecht, I'll read you some of his stats out. He was tremendous. 10 carries. He got a very well-worked try. 15 tackles, missing just one. 3 turnovers, 1. What more could you want from a player? He was tremendous. Nice and physical ball carrier. But you could just see that the Pumas were up for it. I thought Darren Bestrat was very good. He made 10 carries as well. Etienne Talliard, full of running, 40 meters gained, 3 defenders beaten, a try to his name. Eddie Fashir, I thought pretty well. It was quite exciting actually a couple of times. Made a couple of good breaks. 2 defenders beaten, 1 offload, a try assist, 2 penalties, goals, 4 conversions, 16 tackles made. It was on the fly half. Only 2 missed and 2 turnovers, 1. I'll tell you who I think deserves a lot of credit for the Lions. There were 2 players for me that were standing up for the Lions, and one was when he came off the bench. I thought that Aiden Capito on debut, the Varsity Cup star, I thought he added so much to the team when he came on. You see he was up for it. He came on and thought, I'm going to actually try and make something different. He made a couple of gain line breaks. He looked quite exciting with the ball. I just don't think that the Lions are going to operate particularly well with Fred Zailing at fly half. He's just got no X factor. It just looks so one-dimensional when he plays. And we saw that the Lions were struggling. Jordan Henderson came in and looked like a whole different side. And we saw a little bit of that when Aiden Capito came on. We've got to have a nice attacking fly half, and we just haven't had that. But for me, somebody who I thought tried relentlessly was Raz McLana. I thought that he, when he got the ball, really did try hard. Even old Jumbo Lengo to a certain degree. I think Jumbo Lengo ran 53 meters, 6 defenders beaten, 1 offload, 5 tackles, 2 turnovers, 1 no miss tackles. So they were trying really hard. But as I said, it's just the problem is I look at that Lions side, and I think that there are a lot of very talented players. There are a lot of very talented players. It is such a young side, which is exciting. But we don't have time for young and exciting. We have got to be competitive now. If there was ever a time to win the Currie Cup, we lost 1 player to the Springboks, 2 if you include Alton Yankees. Compare that to the Stormers, who have lost like 8 or 9 players. Compare that to the Bulls, who have lost 4 or 5 players. All these teams are losing players to overseas clubs and stuff like that. They're playing weekend sides. If there was ever going to be a Currie Cup where the Lions try and stamp their mark on things, it was going to be this. But this union has been stuffing around for several years now. We built one of the best sides in Super Rugby history. I'm going to say it, Super Rugby history. Yeah, they didn't win. I'm not saying that they were the best, but in terms of when they played well, they were unstoppable. They looked so good for those 3 years, playing champagne rugby, producing player after player. Getting some of these players to being some of the best in the world. We've seen how good Faf is. We've seen how good Franco Mostert is, Malcolm Marx, And yet, since then, since all of that glory, since all of that foundation, getting Emirates as a sponsor, what have they done? They've allowed all these players to leave, and we've signed a couple of youngsters. Look, we've got some very exciting youngsters, and this is nothing against the youngsters. I think they are some very, very good players. How can you expect to compete with the highest level when you've got the Sharks who are signing Sia Khaleesi, Bongi Mbonambi, bringing back Lionel Kinnear, Cameron Wright? I mean, their scrum halves are Wright, Sanele Nahamba, Jaden Hendricks, Grant Williams. They've got 3 wings in the Springbok setup and a fullback. They've got 4 outside backs in that Springbok squad. We don't have a single one. And what are the Lions doing? Are the Lions bringing in big players? No. We brought in Willem Alberts, who was good. It was a decent signing, but nothing spectacular. Not bringing in Will Beater in his prime. Yanni du Plessis. We brought back Ruan Dreyer, and then we brought in somebody like Fred Zeilinger. and then a lot of the players we've brought in, unfortunately, are players who were released. Berger Oudendal, Duncan Matthews came because he's trying to look for more game time. Same as Dan Creel. When are the Lions going to go out and go and get somebody who's in their prime and let them come here? Look, Edwin van der Merwe could be such a signing, but that's the first time I've been really excited about a signing. I mean, letting Dylan Smith go, letting Kwaka Smith go, letting blooming Malcolm Marks going. It is an absolute joke that this union, who was so good for so many years, are allowing them to just go towards the thing. With the coaching staff, do we have to have questions about the coaching staff? Because how can we afford to be a side that can pitch up once every 5 or 6 games? We beat the Bulls, fantastic, cool. That was it. We were competitive for the other Rainbow Cup, and I was trying to be positive, and I've been trying to be positive for a while. But tonight, the writing has been on the wall for tonight for a long time. The Lions do not have enough quality. Not yet. You've got to bring in players who are experienced or in their prime, in fact 25, 26 years old, playing their best rugby to try and guide these players. I've got no doubt that Frankie Horn, Vince Tutuka, Emmanuel Tutuka, Sibisi Sangweni, Hassanat Klavakanya, Johnny Lombard, want to see a similar. These are going to be some great players. But you can't expect a team with that sort of experience. These players are now sort of getting to grips with professional rugby. You can't expect players who are in their debut seasons to be able to carry a side against full-blooded internationals. And that's what awaits us in the United Rugby Championship. You're going to go play against Leicester. It's half the bloody Irish side. But now these group of 21, 22-year-olds must go and try and play against all these seasoned internationals. I mean, they could be playing against some of the best players in the world. And they're going to expect to compete. They must now compete with the Bulls twice. They must play against the Stormers twice. And the Sharks. Look at who Sharks are bringing in. Even the Stormers, look who they've bought in the last couple of years. And the likes of Warwick Holland. And the likes of being able to keep Peace with Toy. He's probably going to leave now. But, they've kept some quality players. Stephen Kitsop coming back and stuff like that. When are the Lions going to do something like that? Until they do, we're going to continue to struggle. And it really frustrates me because it is a union which had the opportunity to really capitalize on some amazing years. But you just got to wonder what's going on behind closed doors. Lack of signings, coaching staff a little bit sort of under the microscope. Financially, are they as sort of, obviously it's not quite the Western Province Rugby Administration, but you look at how the Sharks and the Bulls as a brand, as a company, as an organization are just flourishing. The results will come in the pitch. I've got no doubt that in a year's time, the Sharks will be a very good side on the field. The Bulls have already done that. When are the Lions going to do that? When are the Lions going to start acting like one of the big four? That's the biggest problem. Ever since we got relegated from the Super Rugby and we come through, we've always been the side which is a bit sort of the underdogs and stuff. We need to start acting like a big club. We need to start acting like one of the biggest unions in the country. We are top 4. We are one of the 4 biggest unions in the country. Start acting like it. Bring in players that are worth the shirt. Bring in players to nurture these youngsters. I mean, how is somebody like Sibisi Sangweni, at 20 years old, supposed to try and really develop into a world-class player, surrounded by Frankie Horn, Vince Tutuka, Emmanuel Tutuka, Andy Palsa, they're all great players, but who's leading them? Who's taking them by? Who's saying, I've been there, I've done that, you'll be okay? Where's the Dwayne Vermeulens? Where's the Marcel Coetzee? Where's the Nizam Kars? Where's the Sia Khaleesi's? Where are the Sikomoto Notches? Where are these players that are going to help these youngsters flourish? We don't have that. Until we have that, we're not going to compete. So I'm disappointed because I think that I've supported this team since I was young enough to know what rugby is, over a decade and some. I've been a season ticket holder. I've seen the Lions at their absolute worst. And this has a lot of shades of that. And I, for one, am not going to sit here for 2 or 3 years going, oh, but we'll get there. We've got a young side. Oh, but we'll get there. We've got a young side. It's not good enough. Go out, bring players in, bring the right coaches in, start taking yourself seriously, start winning games, start challenging for trophies. Because that's what the expectation is. You guys didn't deliver a Super Rugby trophy, despite those great years. So don't try and use that as an excuse to fall back into becoming this very average union, which, is good one year and not good the next. The Bulls had a crisis in terms of they were doing so badly, and so they made wholesale changes. They brought all these people in, and tomorrow they will walk out and contend for their 3rd trophy in less than a year. They are already being talked about as potential European contenders in a couple of years' time. As a Lions fan, I'm thinking, do we even deserve to be in the United Rugby Championship? Were we lucky to get in there? We came forth from Currie Cup, so we did beat the Cheetahs fair and square. Cool. But do we really deserve to be backed fully? In fact, that there's no relegation. Are we a safe bet? Are we better than the Cheetahs in terms of the players we are adding to the Springbok squad? Because at the moment we added 2. That's as many as the Cheetahs did. So are we much better than the Cheetahs? Do we deserve that spot in the United Rugby Championship? It might sound like overreacting, but I'm just so fed up with the union which has so much potential because we see it in the youngsters. It has so much potential, but until they take themselves seriously and start acting like a really big union and stuff like that, we're always going to struggle. So let me know what you thought of the game. Look, as I said, once again, for the Pumas players, brilliant. Well done. A fantastic performance, and I hope it's a big wake-up. And for the tournament's sake, you need to see performances like that. I've been saying that I want the Pumas to be competitive. And if it was a full-strength line side and they played really well and the Pumas just beat them, I wouldn't have any complaints. But what I saw was a really, really poor performance from a union which have been, as I said, with the writers on the wall for a long time. They haven't acted, and now we're starting to see the cracks open. But yeah, as I said, let me know what you thought of the game. Smash a like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel. We'll be live for all 3 games tomorrow. I'll try to be in a bit of a better mood. Let me go and sleep it off. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.